And what was important with the advisory committee is we were asking questions. Okay, this is what you can do, what fits here? This is what you can do, what fits here? And I think we want to carry that through at the board level as well. So if I can figure out how to change the slide. I will just do here. We want to talk about a few things tonight. First, just give you some background information about assessment districts, what they are, then talk specifically about ways to fund the need for this type of district. And at that point, I really want to stop and let the board discuss what you're looking for, if what we're presenting fits within your model, if you'd like to see alternatives, and really get a feel for what we have and what the options are moving forward. Then we will talk about how to move forward if you want to go down that path. Public outreach and education, that's another key discussion item for the board. I've got some topic ideas, but really as a board, that's something that will need direction from you on what you think the community needs as far as education and outreach and which direction you want to go in. We talk about next steps and get some formal board direction on how to move forward. Just as an overview, as a fire district, you have the ability to form what is called a fire suppression benefit assessment. It's different than some of the landscaping and lighting districts, which are also assessments, but they're formed under a different set of laws. Your set of laws is specifically where you can charge an assessment on property within the district based on a formula developed through what's called an engineer's report, and it needs to pay for fire suppression services. The fire district provides services that are beyond fire suppression. So the assessment cannot pay for all of those services. They must pay for services that provide a special benefit, as clearly defined. Clearly, I'm not going to say clearly. It's a gray area on how it's defined in the law, but it is defined in the law and what special benefit means. And it's defined under Prop 218 as well as Government Code 5078. You need to demonstrate that an additional level of service will be provided to your community. As part of the work with the Citizens Advisory Committee, they actually made a recommendation to the board that was accepted at the last meeting regarding additional level of service. So in this situation, it's pretty clear what you would be funding from an assessment is something more than you are currently providing through your existing revenues. So for your district, that's pretty cut and dry. In other areas, that may not be as clear. The assessment needs to be allocated based on the use of the property and the risk classification of the structures on the property. So when we look at that, we use national standards, but we also use local data to try to allocate what the expenditure is among all the parcels in the district and assign each parcel with an amount that they pay based on the amount of benefit they receive. And that's what's calculated in this engineer's report. It is a landowner vote with a mail ballot proceeding. That's different than going to the polls and having a registered voter vote. It is a landowner vote, not a registered voter vote, a landowner vote. Property owners don't necessarily live in town. Property owners are not renters. So you want to think about who your voters are because they may be different than when you're thinking of going to the polls and having an election in the polls. Takes a majority approval weighted based on the amount of the assessment. So if I were to pay $10 and the property owner next to me pays $20, they get twice the vote as I have, even though they're neighboring parcels. So it is a landowner vote weighted based on the amount of the assessment. So I want everybody to kind of think through what that means, think through what that means locally. You may have a lot of property owners that don't live in town, that are businesses where they're owners or elsewhere. They would have a vote. You do not exempt public agencies. So you would be assessing schools, county property, other public agency-owned property. So those are things that we want to think about when moving forward with this type of funding mechanism. Let's talk specifically about funding the district's needs. And I want to remind everybody what the Citizens Advisory Committee recommendations were. Part of it was to use augmented funding to provide an enhanced level of service. But there was kind of a caveat on what that enhanced level of service is because we really haven't explored what the tolerance in the community is for paying an additional assessment to fund additional services. So at a minimum, the committee was recommending two two-person engine companies with constant staffing. If possible, still at constant staffing, but it's possible to have one 3-person engine company at one station and a 2-person engine company at another station to really improve the staffing levels and hopefully response of the district.
And you're talking about the station here in Lamb Road?
Yes.
Staffing scenarios. So what does that mean? Let's kind of calculate this out and break this down to what it would mean. 2-person engine, two 2-person engine